Hey, this is David and Will with the Shepherd School, and today what we're going to do is we're going to make us a little hanging pistol rack. Pretty simple thing. I just went down to the Lowe's or Home Depot. I think we got Lowe's, whatever. Went down and got a piece of hobby wood, 24 inches long. Just bought the piece. Bought 2 pieces of 1/4 inch rod. Some white screw protectors. They were in that in the hardware side. Okay. And then I got some 1/4 inch heat shrink tube. I had to get this from Harbor Freight though. And all we're going to do is, I found the center. We're going to put a mounting screw in the center. Then we're going to put a mounting screw, countersunk, 1 inch from each end. 2 inches from the end. I started marking every 4 inches. And that's going to be the things that hold the gun, and they just kind of stick in. Saw this on YouTube. Somebody else did it. I'll put a link to his. I just wanted to share it, and I thought it was so cool I wanted to do it. That way I can kind of like hang this over here in the workshop, and as I'm cleaning guns, you know, or working on the gun, I can just stick it up there, and then it's there easy, and it's not cluttering up everything. Right. I drilled my holes, and I drilled them slightly smaller than the rod, and the screw holes I'm just countersinking. I got a little hand countersink at the Harbor Freight when I got that fusible or the heat shrink wrap. I can't seem to go in there without spending twice as much as I meant, and this stuff generally lasts about half as long as I expected, but it's so cheap I can't hardly resist. Alright, so come here, boy. See how I did that? Just like turning a screw, just kind of cutting it out a little bit to hold the screw threads. Why don't you do that? Alright, we'll come back. We'll come back in just a second. Alright, so we countersunk our screw holes, and on the other side we countersunk our holes for our rod, so we can put some epoxy in there so it don't work itself loose. Okay, I'm going to cut these rods off at 4 inch intervals. Okay, that way I'll have about 3.5 inches sticking out for the guns. Alright, so after looking at it, I decided 4.5 inches was too short, or 4 inches was too short, so I did it 6 inches. And all I did after I cut it off, then I rounded it on the grinder, round the other end on the grinder, and kind of roughed it up a little bit. This is the end that we're going to pound in. Okay. So the screw holes are just a little bit undersized, so we're going to be careful not to crack anything. Alright, here it is. And the way I made sure that everything was flush, I just turned it upside down and I'd look at it and see if one of them was not touching. If one of them wasn't touching the workbench, I'd beat all the other ones except for that one until they all touch. They're all passed through, and they're passed through into the countersink, some more than others, but none of them out so far that you can't you know, put it flush up against the board. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this up with some epoxy, try to hold it. I probably could heat it up and rivet it, ping it in real good too, but I'm just going to use glue. And then I'm going to sand the lines off and stain it a little bit. And I probably could have stained it ahead of time, and it probably would have been better, but I was afraid I'd ding it up with the hammer. Okay, so we've stained it, and we're letting the stain dry, but I also put a little bit of JB weld in the back and kind of smoothed it out, whatever. I know that's kind of ugly, but that's going to be up against the wall. Okay, here we are, next day. My stuff is dried. So now all we're going to do is we're going to take our heat shrink and we're going to cut it and slide it down our little poles. And it ain't got to be exact because we're going to trim it up. Alright, now that we got our heat shrink on, now we're just going to heat it up with the gun and shrink it to it. But the last thing to do is put these little tips on, okay? And I went ahead and put them on there just to make sure that they would fit. But before I put them on there permanently, I'm going to take me a little bit of super glue and super glue the tip on, because I don't want this to come out inside my pistol. Alright, here's our completed gun rack. The gun just fits right down on the pole. Right? And then I can hang it somewhere up against the wall. I'm not going to mount it and show you where I mount it, because that's my secret squirrel thing. Alright? And I've been thinking about maybe putting an eye bolt up here so I could run a chain through all the trigger guards. Okay? And I'm not suggesting that you do this, and I'm not suggesting you don't do it, but it gives you a little bit of thinking. That in itself, maybe not in a full, gun rack, but maybe just a singular block with one pipe, that might give me some creative places to stash guns, maybe, So anyway, that's my 2 cents, and until next time, you can always catch online, www. Say it, Jack.
Handgun.com.
Thank you.